So hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I went to a fabulous women's camp this weekend and wanted to just share a little bit about it with you all. So a friend of mine started this about 6 or 7 years ago, and he calls it Camp Do What You Wanna. And it's a time for only women to come and to gather, to be together, to relax, to cook, to share concerns, to do hobbies or teach things, and just sort of as a time to be together. When she started this camp, she had a house in the Catskills, and so we gathered there, and some people would bring tents and sleep outside. Others we would just bunk up in the house and find places to sleep. She has since sold her house, so we didn't have our meeting place anymore. And last year with COVID, it didn't happen, but this year we found a friend of a friend who had a house in Long Island, who let us use it for the weekend. So the group that gets together is friends and then friends of friends. And so there's like no strangers, like either I bring a very good friend with me, and someone else brings a good friend with them. And so we are meeting new people, but the same faces show up year after year as well. This year, when we met this year, we had 10 or 11 people. It changed on Saturday because someone came just for the day. We ranged in age from 45 to 75, kind of evenly split over who's married, who has a partner, and who is single. Almost all of us have children who range in age from like 13 to 26. Trying to think what else about us. All sorts of different professions. There's about 3 are like what I call professional things like accountants and whatnot. There's a few are in nonprofits. There's a yoga instructor. There's a life coach. Couple of us looking for work. So kind of the whole gamut there. And let's see. We arrive in all different ways. Some people bike there, some people take the train, and some of us drive. And that kind of shows, we come in all different ways. And what we try to do is just find a way to carve out a space or a time without our partners, without our children. We're also used to doing things for other people. And this is really just kind of a special time carved out that's really just for ourselves. No work, no kids, no partners, and just sort of seeing where the weekend takes us. And kind of over this weekend, we forge new friendships. Like you meet people who you might not otherwise have ever met. Try new things. A lot of people kind of bring their hobby, with all the supplies. And if you want to try something new, might be out of your comfort zone, but just a way to really do what you wanna. And you can do as much as you want or as little as you want. But we find that pretty much everyone just like has fun participating and trying new things. We split up the making of food. So someone takes each meal and then brings the items with them. And then 2 or 3 other women will work with you and, help clean up and all, but we do all community meals. And it's like everyone brought their healthiest and most creative meals. So we felt like we were eating like queens, just, you know, lots of new flavors. And let's see, what else? So I'm gonna give you a picture now. So this was the place in the Catskills, which there was a big barn, and then there was, it's hard to see, but you can see the barn is reflected, and it was a spring-fed, not really a pond, but it like used to be a quarry. So it's just kind of an unfinished area to hang out and swim. And inside the barn, we set up for yoga. So this year we did the yoga outside because we didn't have a fabulous barn to do it in, but it was like, felt so good doing it out in the grass. You know, we just had yoga mats or towels, and one of the participants in camp is an actual yoga instructor, and she led us in like, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 classes. And for many of us, it was the first time we had done a class since COVID. So like for me, when I used to do yoga a couple times a week, I haven't done it since last March, you know, and I tried doing it at home, but it's just not the same to me. Like I like having a community to do it with. And of course, doing it outside in nature just is even better. You know, you smell the dirt and the grass, and so that was really wonderful. We also did things, there was a massage person who came, a massage therapist, I guess you would call it, but she did, taught us different self-massage techniques using a tennis ball and your own body weight. And again, just like a great thing to share for all of us. This year, we were near the ocean, so we took a long walk on the beach, you know, and just hung out. We went body surfing, and that, of course, is always healing. And there was also a woman on our trip this time who wanted to teach people to make jewelry. And I meant to bring mine because this isn't something I would normally do, but we all looked for little rocks and little shells on the beach, and then she had supplies, and like I've made a pair of earrings that 2 little white stones that I found wrapped in this like very fine gold wire, and then there, you know, I have these new little dangly earrings which I meant to wear but I forgot. But that's just sort of the type of activities that we do, like whatever someone wants to share. So something else we did, one of the people is knows her mushrooms. So she took us on a mushroom hunt, and I don't have pictures of all of them, but we found like, I don't know, I want to say like almost 15 different kinds of mushrooms. And then we chopped them up and we sauteed them and had a feast. But it's just kind of things like that. Also this year, someone brought tattoos, not permanent tattoos, but little like ones you put on with water, like, you know, kids ones. And here you can see these 2 women are sporting their tattoos around their arms there. I don't know if you can see. But it's really just things like that. This woman also with her tattoo, there was a little skinny dipping going on later. Don't worry, I'm not showing anything. But like, it's just kind of, that might be out of people's, you know, comfort zone, but kind of by the end of the weekend, we're all just feeling close and ready to take a chance, or, you know, do something maybe that we wouldn't usually do. And at night we were doing, building campfires, and just had lots of laughs around the campfire, but also serious discussion. And I kind of feel like being in the dark, like, made people open up more, just because you're, you know, you get a little anonymity, not like here on Zoom where you're right in the picture. So that, and oh, more tattoo pictures. And this is another thing someone wanted to do, was make garlands out of found items. So you can see we went to all extremes. There was some who went full garlands, others just made things for their hair, and then went swimming in the pond afterwards. And this picture to me sums up women's camp. It's just kind of a joyous celebration. And every time I go, like, I come back with at least two, like, what I would call close friends who I keep in touch with, like people who I didn't know before. And that's kind of the big magic of it. One of our discussions around the campfire kind of centered on mothering. You know, whether we have children or people who don't have children but find that they're mothering, you know, quote unquote, mothering their partner or their elderly parents, and how often it feels a little bit thankless. You know, you might do a lot of things that you might not, you know, and I would say we mostly do it happily because we want to raise our children and teach them to be independent. And but sometimes it just feels like you're not getting a thank you or an acknowledgement. And what we found over this weekend was that we felt a little bit like we were mothering each other and providing support, fully listening if, you know, someone had something they needed to unload, teaching new skills, cooking meals, cleaning up after meals. But it felt like a different ending to it because everyone there like appreciated what you did. And it left us all just, that's sort of the rejuvenation, I think, is feeling that at the end. You know, you shared something or you went out of your way to do something, and it was like we had a very appreciative audience. And that's pretty much what our women's camp is. I think I hit on everything, but should I stop sharing?
Sure. Okay, we can go to Q&A section. All right, folks. Yeah, I worked really hard to pressure Lisa to come to the presentation. So now is the time to ask questions and comments. Thank you so much, Lisa. You did a great job. It's really wonderful. I'm jealous.
But everyone can create a women's camp.
Yeah, nice idea. Beautifully executed.
Good job, Lisa.
Thank you.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
How do we join for what?
Well, so this really only happens once a year, you know, the actual camp. Like, we've
Yeah.
never done it more than once a year. I come as a, you know, I've come as an invitee, right? I wasn't part of the original group, but pretty much like when it comes, like, we always have to see where it's being held, how many people, you know, how many people like can fit in the bathrooms and the sleeping arrangements. So each year it's kind of a new, I don't know what to call it, but it's a new thing. Like this year we could only do 10 people. You know, that's what the woman whose house it was comfortable with. Whereas in the days when we went to the Catskills, it was pretty limitless because as long as people brought tents, you know, it was, you know, a different venue kind of. But, you know, anytime, I think anyone could come up with one of these. I was even thinking you could do one like going to a campground, you know, and of course it depends how people want to do it, but certainly something I think, you know, women here could consider doing one.
How did you find out about it?
One of my best friends is the woman who had the house. So she and I have been friends for about 12 years. We used to do yoga together. That's how we met. And, you know, she's one of my go-to people and I'm one of hers. So that's how I got there.
That I just have to say something. It to me that's just like so wonderful and so amazing to have that kind of a setting where everybody there is just there to relax, to, you know, maybe share some skills or hobbies or something that they love doing. And if they don't want to share, that's fine, you know, and just to have the support and the camaraderie, that it's so inspiring. That's really wonderful, I think, to know that that kind of thing is happening, you know, and like this is the first time I've heard of something like this. I just think, wow, wouldn't that be wonderful to have many of these, like, and not necessarily put on by an organization or something, but just that the word would get out and the idea would grow and people would say, oh, I have a house and my friend has a house, or I have this area, this meadow that we can camp in, or, you know.
Right.
Wow, it's so inspiring. It's just wonderful to hear about. It sounds like it's very like good friendships, like a kind of supportive, deep friendships that are formed, not just like superficial, oh, I went to the store and bought this and then I got my hair done and, you know, oh, this is where I get my nails done kind of place. You know, that you talk about and you share meaningful things.
And of course, what came up a lot this time is struggles a lot of us have had due to COVID. You know, whether it was illness or, in my case, problems with one of my sons, you know, with his schooling. And, you know, always what happens when you talk about things like this, you realize you're not the only one. And that is helpful too.
Suzanne, do you want to talk about your idea, like a fantasy about your healing center kind of thing? Like briefly.
Oh,
It's related to this, yeah.
yes, sure. Along those lines, a little bit along those lines, Lisa, what you talked about, you know, with the camp is what I am in the process of doing is forming a nonprofit so that I can open up. I have to, you know, there's a lot of steps I need to go through still, but my vision is to open up a healing center for survivors of domestic violence and their children. It would be a place like kind of almost like a spa-like setting, not, you know, with emphasis on looks and all of that. The emphasis would be on healing. And it's for survivors and their children, if they want to bring them. Or, you know, I encourage the children to come. And I also plan to have like animals there to help heal the children from trauma, some yoga and meditation, teach some hip hop dance, do some like Reiki, acupuncture, massage, shamanic journeying, hypnotherapy, and just have it on a big piece of land so that if nobody wanted to do anything but just sit outside you know, and or what, sit under a tree or just walk every day, then that's what they would do. And it would be for, I'm thinking like about 5 days, I think would be about no more than 7 days for each woman and her children to be there. And the cost would be absolutely free. Everything is paid for the survivors and their children, including transportation to and from the center. And I'm in the process of, you know, taking it step by step to realize this. I've had this vision for about 6.5 years now. And it's finally to a point where I'm, you know, I'm looking for a piece of land, and someplace it has to be a big piece of land with a big house, you know, big bedrooms that can hold the women and their children, and also that, you know, cottages that can, the staff will be able to stay in. The staff will be paid, but for the women and their children, it won't cost anything, including like food, nothing, everything is free for them. So I'm in the process of kind of getting that off the ground, but this camp sounds like something along those lines, you know, where just women coming together and feeling supported and sharing meaningful things and doing fun things and adventurous things, maybe things they've never thought of before. That's like exactly kind of what I, you know, and is in my mind for my healing center. You know, that the women, it's like they are encouraged to learn about organic gardening, or if they don't want to know anything about it, that's fine. They can sit and read for 5 days, and, you know, or whatever. The only thing that I'm going to request is that, you know, to not be on any electronics. Like, it's got to be a time to just be in nature and with the animals and walking or talking, connecting, or contemplating, or getting a session for the children also. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of, you know, what I am working on, and I know it's baby steps, you know, one little baby step at a time. But so this is inspiring to hear what you're doing, you know, it sounds very like spontaneous, you know, like you don't know exactly where you're going to have it. It's like things are not planned out necessarily, you know, hour by hour, day by day, and everything just flows, you know, so that's wonderful.
Sometimes I think that's what happens when you get a group of women together. Everything just flows.
Yeah, really agree. Yeah, great. So I want to alert you guys to the chat window. Somebody, okay, Anne was saying, I think she's in noisy environment. She can't talk, but she's chatting. Amazing, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. You know, as she said that earlier. And now she said, Suzanne, now I understand your dream. Great, thank you for sharing. So, yeah, you know, by talking about the similar project and you know, experience and hope and stuff like that, then we get more ideas. You know, I was saying to Suzanne like 2 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, that if you're going to do the healing center, please hire the survivor as a staffer. You know, then you know, they get more like a financial stability by being paid to do the work. You know, that kind of thing. So you know, that like each other's idea, you know, a little bit different point of view, feed each other, and it's great. You know, this is I love this collaboration. So thank you, thank you for coming and sharing your stories.
Well, listen to Lisa about the, how do we call that? It's a woman's camp. Do you think that can we have one of that for our Women for Success? It looks so amazing, you know.
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
Well, the Women for Success, like to me, I see overlap, you know, between what you all are doing here and what we did. You know, you come together every week, somebody shares something important to them or that they know about that other people can benefit from. So I think you guys are already doing this, you know.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
But it's
So,
definitely fun to make it a set time, you know, and that was amazing. Like you were saying, Suzanne, to put away the phones, put away the
yeah,
computers, and really experience each other without other distractions.
yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Because we don't really have in-person meeting. So if like we can have a camp, a women's camp, like we can stay there maybe overnight or maybe, you know, 2 nights, and that would be great, right? What do you think?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, even we could start it as an easier thing and maybe do a meeting in person. You know, I don't know if everyone's in the New York area, but you know, do some kind of a you know, an afternoon potluck, or you know, and come together in that way. Might be a way to start to be together in person.
Yes. In person is very important, right? Yes,
Yep.
that's a good idea. Thank you.
As a advertisement, we are going to do in-person event very soon, August 3rd, the National Night Out. We are going to do in-person, you know, informational table kind of event. You know, we would have a talking thing. It's not quite like a party or yoga, but it will be fun. So come, you know, just keep in touch so that you see my flyers and stuff. And also August 7th, we are trying to have a separate, not the national night out, but our own table thing. So that's another advertisement. So keep in touch. You know, we'll see you more and more in person. I have a feeling we'll have a more coming. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Great,
Thank you,
great job.
Lisa.
Thank you
Yes.
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, bye.
All right. Bye, Lisa.
Bye bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.